The Binding of Isaac is not your average video game. It's a twisted, darkly humorous journey into the depths of a child's nightmares. The game follows Isaac, a young boy forced to confront his deepest fears. His refuge, the confines of his own basement, his tormentor, his own mother driven to madness by her religious fervor. The game doesn't shy away from disturbing imagery. It's a grotesque yet strangely compelling exploration of childhood trauma, religious extremism, and the power of storytelling. Through Isaac's eyes, we witness the unraveling of a family and the devastating consequences of unchecked faith. The Binding of Isaac is not for the faint of heart. It's a game that stays with you long after you put down the controller. But beneath its disturbing exterior lies a story of resilience, hope, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Isaac's mother is the catalyst for the game's terrifying events. Her presence looms large over the narrative, casting a shadow that shapes the entire storyline. From the very beginning, her influence is felt, creating an atmosphere of dread and uncertainty. Once a loving parent, she undergoes a chilling transformation. The warmth and care she once showed to Isaac slowly erode, replaced by a cold, unyielding demeanor. This change is not sudden, but rather a gradual descent into darkness, making it all the more horrifying. Consumed by religious programming, she becomes convinced that God demands a sacrifice. Her own son, Isaac. Her intense devotion to her faith blinds her to the reality of her actions, leading her down a path of fanaticism. The religious texts she once found solace in now become the tools of her madness. The game draws a clear parallel to the biblical story of Abraham and Isaac. However, unlike the biblical tale where divine intervention stops the sacrifice, Isaac's mother receives no such reprieve. Her unwavering belief in her mission drives her to the brink of insanity. But here, the focus shifts from Abraham's obedience to the devastating impact of such blind faith on a child. Isaac, caught in the crossfire of his mother's delusions, becomes a symbol of innocence lost. The emotional and psychological toll on him is immense, highlighting the darker side of religious fervor. Isaac's mother, warped by her convictions, becomes a symbol of religious extremism and its potential to poison even the purest of bonds. Her love for Isaac, once pure and nurturing, is now twisted into something unrecognizable. The cross she clings to is no longer a symbol of hope, but a weapon of her fanaticism. Her descent into madness is gradual, marked by increasingly disturbing behavior. Each step she takes further into her delusions is a step away from reality and from the son she once cherished. The progression of her mental state is both tragic and terrifying, a stark reminder of the fragility of the human mind. She isolates Isaac, bombarding him with religious messages. The once comforting presence of his mother is now a source of fear and confusion. The room, filled with religious imagery, becomes a prison where Isaac is subjected to relentless indoctrination. Her once kind eyes turn cold and distant, replaced by a chilling fanaticism. The transformation in her gaze reflects the change in her soul, from a loving mother to a zealot consumed by her beliefs. The warmth that once defined her is now a distant memory. Her transformation serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked zealotry and the devastating consequences it can have on those closest to us. The broken family portrait symbolizes the shattered bonds and the emotional fallout of her fanaticism. It is a poignant reminder of the cost of blind faith and the innocent lives it can destroy. The Binding of Isaac is notorious for its multiple endings, each one more complex and thought-provoking than the last. This game doesn't just end, it evolves, offering players a myriad of conclusions that delve deep into the psyche of its protagonist, Isaac. Each ending offers a different glimpse into Isaac's fate, each more unsettling than the last. The game masterfully uses these endings to explore themes of fear, guilt, and redemption, making each playthrough a unique emotional journey. Some endings suggest Isaac's demise, trapped and suffocating within the confines of a wooden chest. This imagery is haunting, symbolizing the claustrophobic nature of his fears and the inescapable grip of his trauma. And others hint at a darker fate, confronting monstrous representations of his inner demons. These grotesque figures are not just enemies, they are manifestations of Isaac's deepest anxieties and unresolved issues. These varied endings are not merely for shock value, they reflect the cyclical nature of trauma, the feeling of being trapped with no escape. The game uses these endings to comment on the repetitive and often unending struggle with personal demons. They force players to confront the darkest possibilities of Isaac's situation, leaving them to grapple with the weight of their choices and the potential consequences. Each decision made in the game feels heavy, as if it carries the burden of Isaac's fate. However, amidst the despair, one ending offers a glimmer of hope. This rare conclusion suggests that there might be a way out of the darkness, a possibility for redemption and healing. This final ending, involving a character known as the Beast, suggests a meta-narrative. The Beast represents the ultimate challenge, a confrontation with the most profound and terrifying aspects of Isaac's psyche. It reframes the entire game as a story, perhaps one told by Isaac's father. This perspective adds a layer of depth, suggesting that the game is not just about Isaac's struggles, but also about the stories we tell ourselves and others to make sense of our experiences. This interpretation transforms the previous endings, suggesting they are not definitive conclusions, but rather different versions of the same story, each reflecting Isaac's evolving emotional state. It invites players to see the game as a complex narrative tapestry, where each thread contributes to a richer understanding of Isaac's journey. Religious trauma, a distortion of faith. The Binding of Isaac doesn't shy away from tackling difficult themes. Religious trauma is central to the narrative, explored through the distorted lens of Isaac's mother. Her blind faith, warped by external influences, transforms her into the very source of Isaac's terror. The game highlights the dangers of religious extremism, exposing how easily faith can be twisted into a weapon. Isaac's mother becomes a cautionary tale, demonstrating how religious indoctrination can warp perception and drive individuals to commit unspeakable acts. The game doesn't condemn religion outright. Instead, it critiques the dangers of blind faith and the potential for abuse when religious teachings are taken to extremes. Isaac's experience serves as a stark reminder of the importance of critical thinking and the need to question even the most deeply held beliefs, especially when they come at the expense of another's well-being. The scars of childhood abuse and its lingering impact. Childhood abuse leaves deep, often invisible scars that can last a lifetime. These scars are not just physical, but emotional and psychological, affecting every aspect of a person's life. The trauma can manifest in various ways, from anxiety and depression to difficulties in forming healthy relationships and a pervasive sense of fear and mistrust. The Binding of Isaac is a harrowing depiction of childhood trauma. The game delves into the dark recesses of a child's mind, exploring themes of fear, isolation, and the desperate need for escape. It paints a vivid picture of the internal struggles faced by those who have endured such harrowing experiences. While the game never explicitly confirms physical abuse, the imagery and symbolism strongly suggest a history of emotional and psychological torment. The shadowy figures and broken toys serve as metaphors for the shattered innocence and the lingering presence of fear and pain. Isaac's journey through the basement becomes a metaphor for his own psyche, a place where repressed memories and suppressed emotions manifest as grotesque monsters and nightmarish challenges. Each level of the basement represents a deeper layer of his subconscious, filled with the horrors he has faced and the fears he continues to battle. The game's disturbing visuals and unsettling sound design create an atmosphere of constant dread. The eerie music and haunting sound effects immerse the player in Isaac's world, making them feel the weight of his fear and the intensity of his struggle. This effectively places the player in Isaac's shoes, forcing them to experience the world through his terrified perspective. The sense of vulnerability and helplessness is palpable as players navigate the treacherous environments and face the monstrous embodiments of Isaac's trauma. The Binding of Isaac doesn't offer easy answers or simple solutions. Instead, it presents a complex and nuanced portrayal of trauma, highlighting the long and arduous journey towards healing. The game challenges players to confront the darkness within and to find strength in the face of overwhelming adversity. It doesn't shy away from the complexities of trauma and its lasting impact. The game serves as a powerful reminder that healing is not a linear process, and that the scars of the past can continue to influence the present in profound ways. Instead, it provides a raw and unflinching look at the ways in which childhood experiences can shape our perceptions, relationships, and ultimately our very sense of self. The Binding of Isaac is more than just a game. It's a poignant exploration of the human condition, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a call to acknowledge and address the deep-seated wounds that many carry with them.